Hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Welcome back to our Tuesday series. I hope you guys are all having a great week. In case I forget to tell you while we're having our Facebook Live today, thank you so much for joining. It really means a lot to me to have you all come and spend some of your time watching the Facebook Lives. So I really do appreciate it. So what are we going to do tonight? Well, I thought it's about time to start thinking about Christmas. Yep, I waited too late last year and barely got my cards done. So when the holiday catalog came out, and that's one of the things I was looking for, is what are the stamp sets that I want to get for my Christmas cards this year. I love, love, love our distINKtive stamps. As you know, those are the photorealistic ones, like Healing Hugs and All Good Things with that beautiful koi fish. Seize the Day is another one. Well, we have a Christmas one as well, and that is our Stylish Christmas. We're going to be using the poinsettia today, but we're not going to do it in traditional red colors. We're actually going to go for a little more elegant look. I'm also going to be using sentiment from our first Frost stamp set, as well as some of the Frosted Floral DSP. And did you guys know that you can use the embossing folders to emboss your foil? Let me show you what I mean. Look at this. Took a little piece of silver foil and I ran it through the swirls and curls, or curls and swirls, whatever it's called, and it came out just beautiful. So this is also going to add a little bit of an elegant touch to our card. All right, so let me pull these out of the way and bring out the goodie bag so you can see everything we're going to be using. And the card tonight is probably going to go pretty fast. There aren't a ton of elements that go to it, but it's still going to look really, really pretty. So my color scheme for tonight is going to be Blackberry Bliss. And then for the DSP, this is some of that beautiful Frosted Floral. It's the reverse side of that really pretty floral pattern. I just fell in love with the gray granite side. Very, very winter looking. And I thought the two paired together just look beautiful. That Blackberry Bliss sets off the gray granite so well. So we're going to mat that. And then our sentiment will be stamped on this, and then matted with that silver foil that I embossed. And I know it covers up most of it, but you still can see peeking out of the edges that it is embossed. And that's what I think gives it such a nice look. But the star of our card is going to be our beautiful poinsettia. And we're going to use two of them on this card. Now, I want to talk for just a minute before I start putting this together about distINKtive stamps, because I've heard or seen on our demonstrator planning place Facebook page how some people have a difficult time stamping or getting a good image with some of the distINKtive stamps. And the secret to it is twofold. Number one, you do not want to use a really juicy pad. Let me show you why. I've got it on my Stamparatus, and that's actually the second tip I would give you. Always, always, always use your Stamparatus when you can. And the reason for that is, and let me just prop up this here. The reason for that is, I don't know if you can see it very well, but the engraving, if you will, on the stamp is very, very fine. And that's how we get those wonderful shades. So you want to be sure, if you're using too juicy a pad, it's just not going to sink in to those little tiny grooves and leave enough showing. It will just completely cover the whole thing, and you'll get kind of a blob in the outline of it. And because I'm going to use this stamp on my inside sentiment panel, I got a little bit of fuzz in there, I thought I would show you how easy it is to get a good image. So I've got this one mounted to where, oops, let me get my paper set up right here, to where it's going to stamp on the lower right-hand corner of my inside panel. Make sure I have this kind of straightened up a little bit. There we go. And the reason that the Stamparatus works so well is because rather than bringing your stamp to the ink pad like we're used to, you want to bring your ink pad to the stamp. So I'm going to open up my ink pad here. And then you don't want to like catch the edges. That's going to create distinctive lines that you don't want. You really want to come down firmly onto the stamp. And I'm actually supporting the stamping platform here with another stamp case so that it lays flat. That way I know I get a good inking. And let me see if I can bring this up a little bit and just show you that you see how I've got even coverage all the way around, and I can see where my darker areas are compared to where the lighter areas are going to be. So that tells me that my stamp pad has the right amount of ink on it and that I have inked up this stamp correctly. So then we'll just bring it down and give it a good 2 or 3 seconds here, and then lift it up. And there you can see. Now, if I still had blotchy areas, I could go ahead and ink it up again lightly and restamp it. But in this case, it doesn't. And let me bring that flower up because it is just beautiful. Look at all the different gradients of shading that you get with that. Okay, so that's how easy it is to get a good image with your distINKtive stamps. Now, if you do have an ink pad that's too juicy and your heart is set on using that color, no worries. With your stamp pad, and let me open this one back up, what you would just do is take like a plastic table knife or a spoon and just kind of work the ink towards the edges of your pad. And that way the center of your pad is not going to be too inky. All right. Well, since I've got the inside panel going, we might as well stamp the sentiment for it. So let me just clean off my stamp here. And then I already have my sentiment mounted as well. So I just need to flip it over. Have to make sure that I have this. Nope, it should go. Want to make sure I don't get it upside down. This is one of those that it's a little hard for me to tell. Okay, it does go that way. So I'm just going to go ahead and position that. I probably had it on there just fine. Pick it up and then try to be sure that it's on there straight. Another little tip or trick that I will give you, take a piece of grid paper, lay it down to where it matches up with the lines that are on your Stamparatus grid there, and you'll be able to tell whether or not your sentiment is lined up straight. So let me just do that, line this up. If I can see my lines, there they are. With this light, it's a little difficult because it leaves a shadow. Okay. And I think I've pretty much got that on there straight and it's lined up. Now for the inside sentiment, I'm going to ink that up in the gray granite. So we'll be repeating the same colors that are on the front on the inside. All right, fingers crossed, I got it on there at least semi-straight. Give it a little more ink. I see a couple of spots that are a little blotchy. And there you go. There is, so on this go around, we did the inside before we did the front, but hey, that's okay. All right, let me put my ink pad away because I think we're pretty much done with it. Give this a quick wipe. I'll give it a good clean later. I just don't want to get the ink all over. I love our chamois. Okay, and put this to one side. Now let's go ahead and work on the front of our card. If you have any questions about using the photopolymer, just drop me a note and I will be more than happy to try and help you out with that. Okay, from here on out, it's really simply a matter of gluing things down. So my frosted floral piece, I'm going to use liquid glue. See if I have any left in this bottle. Oh, doesn't look like it. So luckily, I always have a spare. Oh yeah, lots in this one. Okay, and then this is going to leave just a thin border all the way around, but I thought it was just perfect for showcasing the DSP. Okay. Oh, I guess we do still need to stamp our sentiment on here. And I already have that mounted, so I think this one we're going to do, let's see, so we're going to have our poinsettias there. We'll have some ribbon that goes across here because you know you got to have a little bit of ribbon. And then our sentiment is going to go here. Now, I can do it in the Blackberry Bliss, but with the poinsettias there, I've got quite a bit of Blackberry Bliss going on already. So I think I'm going to stick with the gray granite. Let me bring in my grid paper so I can line this up. And my gray granite. This is the first time that I have used this particular sentiment stamp. So I'm going to stamp it on my scratch paper here first, just to make sure that it stamps well. Hopefully that I've got it top side up. Yes, beauty. May the beauty and joy of this season fill your heart. Very pretty. All right, so I'm lining this up on my grid paper. And pardon my head if it gets in the way. And I'm just going to leave it there for a count of 2 or 3. Make sure it has plenty of time to absorb the ink. Okay. Set that to one side. And now what we're going to do is we're going to back it on the silver. And then that will go right there. Well, I guess it would help if I brought it in frame. So I do think that going with the gray granite is a better choice. I just think that if I had done it in the Blackberry Bliss, it would have been a little too overpowering. Okay, so I know that I'm going to just glue this down to my silver panel. So let me go ahead and take care of that. And again, I'm using my liquid glue, especially when you are working with foil. It has a very slippery surface, so you can't go wrong with your liquid glue. It'll take it an extra second or so to bond, but it's going to give you a firm bond, and you won't have to worry about it popping off. You also can take and set your block, your stamping block down there, and that will help maintain pressure on it. All right, now for my, I think I'm going to put my ribbon down first because I know about how much space I want, and that will help me with placement of my poinsettias. And I'm not going to lay the ribbon across like that. I wanted to give it a little extra, just a little extra design element. So I think I'm going to put my ribbon down just like this. And for that, I'm going to go ahead and use glue dots. Let me just drag them out here. Now I know that I'm going to need a glue dot to keep this down. So that's the first one I'm going to put on. And I'm not attaching it to the card. I'm just attaching it to the other side of the ribbon to form a nice little loop. Just like that. Probably could have brought that down a little more. All right. And that is going to sit right like that. Or does it look better that way? Actually, it looks better that way. I'm going to trim down my tails because they're a bit too long. I do want them kind of long because remember, I have to put that sentiment strip over it, but that was just a little bit too long. So that I think is going to be much better. Well, you know what? I wonder if we should do it like that. Let's do it like that. And that way we have just a little bit poking out the sides there. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so let me go ahead and just put this down where I want it, securing it with a couple of glue dots. I'm just going to use one to start with. Actually, let me pull that a little bit further over right there. And I really won't need to put glue dots on the tails because our sentiment panel will hold it down nicely. And I think I'm going to go ahead and pop up the sentiment panel, especially since I put a loop in that ribbon. It has a bit of bulk behind it. So I'm thinking we're going to be better off doing that. Hi, Lee. How are you? I don't know. I kind of like the hafolo. That was cute. All right. So let me just get these dimensionals on here. If I can get the backings off. This particular round of them is really stuck on well. Some good adhesive. Come on. There we go. Get out my reverse tweezers here so I can see what I'm doing. And we're going to set this down right in the center. Just like that. And as you can see, it traps the ribbon down there. Okay, so now I can work on my poinsettias. And you'll notice I don't have any leaves for the poinsettias, but I didn't want to add another color element because, you know, typically leaves would be green. I probably could have cut some out of vellum, but I thought even that is just another layer or dimension. I wanted to keep this rather simple. For the poinsettias, I'm going to glue one of them straight down to the card, and then I will prop the other one up with dimensionals. Before I do, though, I want to show you a little trick. I like to give the petals just a little bit of definition. So you do that by taking your bone folder and just very gently lifting up the petals one at a time. And you can give it as much curl or as little curl as you want, but I really did like how that helped. Alternately, you also could just use your fingers to very gently bring up the tips. I've seen people who bend up a little and then down. If you want to try and be really creative with it to give it a more free-flowing. I'm not very good at that though, so we're just going to leave it like that. So I like that one there. And as I said, this one I'm going to put down with liquid glue. Now, because I did bend up my petals a bit, I'm only going to use the liquid glue in the center of the flower. And that will hold it down just fine. So we'll put our placement right about there. And again, because the frosted floral paper is a bit pearlized, it too is a little bit slick. So I'm just going to hold it in place for a couple of seconds. There we go. And then this one, give my petals just a little curl. I like the bone folder method because it doesn't put a lot of strain on the paper so you don't get creases on the back. And then this one, and I kind of like, see the center of it, how it's got that detail. I really don't want to cover that all up. So I am going to bring it down to more towards the center than I normally would and prop it up right about there. Bring back in our dimensionals. And again, I'm only going to put a couple on here because I want those petals to stay nice and curled. And we really shouldn't need more than just a couple of them. All right, so decide how I want that. And I think right there is good. All right, pretty easy. And as you can see, a really nice and elegant card. But let's do one more thing. Since we've got a bit of bling going on down here at the bottom with that silver foil and then the metallic edging on the ribbon, I thought up on our poinsettia itself, we might add just a few rhinestones. And I probably should have done this before I glued it down, but I think I can sneak it in there. Let's see if I have any little bitty ones here. Just put them here and there. Move them about if you need to. And put one more there. You could also do this with, depending on the colors you used, with pearls would be pretty. But I thought I would add just a little bit of bling and get a slightly larger one for this big area right there. Oops, get over there, you. Come on. Okay, And I think that's, well, maybe we'll put one more right down here. That way we have it in 3 different places on our card. Okay, now let's take our center panel and glue that to the inside, or our sentiment panel for the inside, I should say. So I'm going to bring back out my multi-purpose liquid glue. Oops. There we go. And just glue it down on the inside. And that, as they say, is that. Thank you, Lee. I think it's pretty too. My goal is to get all of the distINKtive stamps, just because I do think that they add so much to the look of a card, as far as, you know, making it look photorealistic. And with that frosted floral paper, yep, that was it. All right. Well, that is what I wanted to show you for tonight, our first traditional Christmas card, since this one is definitely all about Christmas. And we got to play around with the more winter looking DSP that's in that frosted floral set, as well as the first frost stamp set and the stylish Christmas stamp set. Well, thank you again for joining tonight. I hope you have a great rest of the week, and I will see you all on Saturday. See y'all later. Bye-bye.